2-1 from Scott. Hit in the air, center field. Park drifting back, shy of the track, 2 away.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a circus for me getting over to the ballpark today, but looks like everybody's having a lot of fun. Obviously, the football spring game going on, and you got softball with a big series against Cal,
Yep.
and lots of kids on hand for all the fun and the activities of Cardinal Palooza as well. So they got the perfect weather for it, no question.
Yeah, track meet going on across the street. The MPSF men's volleyball championship game at Maples later on this evening. No shortage of things to do on the farm today.
Plenty going on.
Kobe Morales, junior transfer, originally from Downey, California. Transferred from Cypress College. Morales slashing .309, .407, .447. 4 home runs and 23 driven in. Went 1 for 6 yesterday. 1 ball and no strikes from Matt Scott. Fastball down low, 2-0. A lot of guys racked up a lot of plate appearances last night. You would think so in a 16-inning game. So some guys 1 for 7, 2 for 7. Tommy Troy went 3 for 8 last night. Of course, the 2-run home run to win it. 2-0. Curve misses upstairs, 3-0.
Well, that's why I said I think it is going to be interesting to see how these guys respond today. That's a lot of baseball last night, and you know, a tight game obviously. So mentally, that's exhausting as well. We'll see if it impacts today's game.
The 3-0. And now strike 1 called. And even though it was a 16-inning game, it still ran just 4 hours and 27 minutes, which is a pretty good clip for a game that goes that many innings.
Yeah, we were talking about that pregame. That's not bad. I feel like we've worked some 9-inning games that have gone 4:27.
Oh, I know we have.
Yeah, at least a good pace of play.
Ball 4, second walk of the inning issued by Scott.
So at least early on, it seems Scott struggling with his command just a bit, and that will, in part, be the reason for the mound visit.
Yeah, Thomas Eager jogging out of the Stanford dugout. Usually does the walk, but this time he's jogging out there to perhaps get his freshman righty settled down a little bit.
And you can see that early in games sometimes. It'll be interesting if, you know, maybe Thomas Eager saw something in the delivery, or maybe it's just more, as you said, calming him down. Early in the game, young pitcher struggling with his command, and we'll see if he can find it. Obviously a big at-bat early on here with 2 on and 2 out.
Thomas Eager, the Caffey Wolf assistant coach. That's in charge of pitchers. Stanford head coach, of course, David Esker in his 6th year. Got win number 206 as the Stanford head coach. Of course, was previously the head coach at Cal from 2000 to 2017. Of course, before that, Eske on staff here at Stanford and suited up for the Cardinal himself back in the day, part of that 87 national championship team. Conference done, Johnny Tincher, the batter for the Huskies, redshirt junior, Sylmar, California. Tincher slashing .286, .368, .489, 6 home runs and 22 RBI. His RBI double was the Huskies' lone run yesterday. Swings and misses. Finally, a first pitch strike from Scott, 0-1.
And he went with the breaking ball, which was interesting. And I like to see that, especially from a young pitcher, have the confidence in that pitch in a big situation.
He's shown just about everything. Points throughout the course of the season. The 0-1. Fires the fastball, 1-1. Tincher's RBI double, part of a 2 for 7 night for him last night. That tied it up at 1 apiece in the 5th. And from there, it was deadlocked as both teams had opportunities, but struggled to push guys across. Tails outside, 2-1. Stanford had runners at 3rd in the bottom of the 7th, bottom of the 9th, and bottom of the 14th. Couldn't score. UW left runners at the corners in the top of the 9th, had a runner at 3rd and nobody out in the top of the 13th, and the bases loaded in the top of the 15th. Couldn't score. The 2-1. Fastball down low and away, 3-1. With 2 already on, both via bases on balls. Simpson at second, Morales at first. 3-1. Way up high, and Scott walks with the bases loaded.
Well, after that first pitch strike with the breaking ball, unable to find the strike zone again, and this is a good test for a young pitcher who's really fighting his command right now and trying to get out of this inning. Created the jam. All he needs is one good pitch to get out of it.
The lefty Jeter Ibarra, the designated hitter for the Huskies. First pitch right down the middle, called strike one. Ibarra, redshirt sophomore from San Jose, transferred from Ohlone College. Ibarra slashing .327, .415, .345 with no home runs and 8 driven in. The 0-1 from Scott. Swing and a miss. Scott pulls the string. Scott ahead in the count, 0-2.
Ahead in the count for the first time so far today. And now he's got all of his options with this 0-2 pitch.
Simpson at third, Morales at second, Tincher at first. The 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Scott gets the strikeout, and the Huskies leave them loaded. Huskies 0. Stanford coming to bat. Bottom of the first, about to unfold. Let's give you the Cardinal batting order, beginning with Eddie Park, Carter Graham, Tommy Troy. Boy, he has been a major force at the plate the last few weeks. And, of course, he just hit a 2-run home run to win it for Stanford, 4 hours ago? Yeah. Troy's batting third. Braden Montgomery in the cleanup spot. Malcolm Moore batting fifth. Drew Bowser batting sixth. Alberto Rios in the seventh spot. Jimmy Natai in the DH spot for today. He's batting eighth. And Owen Cobb rounds out Stanford's batting order. For the Washington Huskies in their defensive lineup, A.J. Guerrero in the outfield from left to right. A.J. Guerrero in left, McKay Barney in center, Kobe Morales in right. Around the horn, Michael Snyder at third, Cam Clayton at short, Sam DiCarlo at second, Will Simpson at first, and Johnny Tincher behind the plate. And on the mound for the Huskies to begin is Kiefer Lord, a junior from just up the road, San Carlos, California, and a transfer from Carleton College. Lord about to make his 9th appearance and start of the year. 3-3 record, a 4.57 ERA, 41 in the third innings pitched, 36 hits, 24 runs, 21 of them earned, 46 strikeouts versus 12 walks. Opposing batters hitting .235 against Lord, who has also dealt 3 wild pitches and hit 4 batters.
So this means a little extra to him coming back home and having a nice season. As you mentioned earlier this year, was the Perfect Game National Pitcher of the Week just over a month ago.
That was a performance against Northern Colorado. He threw 6 perfect innings, struck out 10, and got the win. Huskies had a bonkers game against Northern Colorado on March 3rd. We'll tell you more about that a bit later on in the show.
More bonkers than last night?
More bonkers than last night. As amazing and as incredible as it might be to believe, but certainly true. As Lord finished with his warm-up tosses, and Eddie Park will lead things off for the Cardinal. The lefty batter from San Jose went 3 for 7, drove in Stanford's first run early in the contest last night. Park slashing .337, .387, .472 with 3 home runs and 34 RBI. Leads the team in hits with 55 and doubles with 11. And Lord fires a fastball inside corner called strike one.
Park has just been so consistent all year long at the top of that lineup. Yeah, you mentioned the 55 hits, tied atop the Pac-12 in that category.
And he's down quickly 0-2. Park on a 5-game hit streak, hitting .433 during that span. The 0-2. On corks one, just misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lord's last outing came at Tucson against the Arizona Wildcats back on April the 7th. 2 in the third, 7 hits, 7 runs, all earned, and checked out walk 2. A charge with a loss that day. Fires a fastball low and inside. Count evens out 2 apiece. Last year at Carleton College in Northfield, Minnesota. That's a Division III school, went 4-1 with a 1.65 ERA. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chopper, Clayton charging, throws over to first, and Park beats the swipe.
Well, we'll have to see how they score that. That's a tough play, but they will give an error to Clayton. He did a great job with the quick release, the throw just off the mark.
And Drew Simpson off the bag, forced Simpson to try to make a backhand swipe, and Park able to avoid it all. So leadoff batter reaches. Carter Graham, the batter now for the Cardinal, a junior from Los Angeles. Graham slashing 267, 359, 466. 7 home runs and 35 RBI. Fouls off the first pitch that he sees. Graham on Tuesday hit 2 home runs against Sacramento State. One of them sailed over the trees in left field. That was a night game, too. Keep that in mind. No balls, 1 strike. Curveball, and this one is hit in the air, left field. Going back is Barney, and he is back at the track, making the catch there. 1 gone.
Well, it looked like that ball did carry pretty well, nearly out of the park, but I think, as we mentioned, the warm air and not a whole lot of wind certainly favors the hitters this afternoon.
Yeah, this park can play quite differently during the day, especially on warm days, than it might sometimes during the night. Even though last night was a very pleasant evening, I was here for much of the game. Not quite as cool as it can be with the marine layer. There was none to speak of last night. Tommy Troy sends one foul off into the Stanford bullpen. He's down 0-1. Troy, the junior from Los Gatos, he's been terrific. 393 slashing, 479 on base percentage, 648 slugging percentage, 6 home runs, 24 RBI. Smacked back up the middle, off of Lord, into center field for a base hit. Park heads to third. Runners at the corners, and Tommy Troy just keeps right on trucking.
He certainly does. Came in batting .393. That hit puts him up to .398. Just a terrific season and good base running from Park. Getting a good read on the ball. Going first to third. Chance for the Cardinal now. That runner on third, less than 2 outs, and the right man at the plate, and Braden Montgomery.
Yeah, Park's superb at base running. Yeah, last night, a sure single, but was able to stretch it to a double to left field as he had a heads up all the way. Here's Braden Montgomery, the sophomore from Madison, Mississippi. Switch hitter, watches the off-speeder miss upstairs for ball 1. Montgomery slashing 344, 488, 640. 9 home runs, 33 driven in. 9 home runs is the team high for the Cardinals so far. Pitch low and inside. 2-0 to Montgomery. The Pac-12 Freshman of the Year from last season. Two balls, no strikes. As you go around, the appeal to third base umpire Mike Lusky. Mike says nope.
One of the things I like about Montgomery, especially for a young hitter, is he's patient up there. He doesn't force it. 34 walks, right near the top of the conference.
Fouled off.
And I like giving him the 3-0 green light as well. I think his plate discipline is part of the reason you can trust him up there to swing 3-0. But it also shows that he understands this is a really good, deep lineup. He has faith in his teammates behind him to get the job done.
The 3-1 pitch in foul territory and twisting off towards the visitors' batting cages. Stanford coming into this series batting .302 as a team. That's third in the conference. .398 on base percentage. Tops in the Pac-12. So when this lineup is humming, they weren't last week in Eugene for the most part, but when they're on, they're on. Payoff pitch, got him looking, pulled the string.
Great breaking ball, 3-2. Pulls out the Uncle Charlie. And that's a tough pitch. Nice job coming back from 3-0 to get that strikeout.
Yep. Brings up Malcolm Moore. Moore, freshman from Sacramento, slashing 304, 388, 522, 7 home runs and 32 driven in. 2 for 7 last night was Moore. He actually entered the series on an 0 for 12 stretch. Was able to turn that around somewhat last night. Thinks about it, doesn't go for it. Called strike 1. Moore turning to his breaking stuff as the inning goes. No balls and 1 strike. Off the fist, jammed him. Fouls it off, 0-2.
Well, both teams, good opportunities here in the first inning. Washington was unable to cash in with the bases loaded. See if Stanford can. It was interesting last night. Both teams were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
The 0-2. Fly ball opposite field. And well foul into the UW bullpen. Count remains at 0-2. Washington is a pitching staff middle of the conference in whip with a 1.40. That's walks plus hits per innings pitched. The 0-2, runner going to second, swing and a miss. Strike 3 on Malcolm Moore, and the Cardinal leave the lead runner at third. Scoreless after 1 here at Sunken. Well, it's been a running theme so far this series. Both teams with opportunities, but nothing across for both squads in the first inning anyway. We're scoreless as we begin the second. Bottom of the order for the Huskies, Snyder, Barney, and DiCarlo. With Michael Snyder leading off for UW. He's a redshirt junior from Woodland Hills High School. Facing off against Matt Scott, who walked 3 in the top half of the first. First pitch strike in there against Snyder, who is slashing 211, 370, 377 with 4 home runs and 22 RBI. No balls and 1 strike. Inside corner gets called there, 0-2.
It's already a better start to the inning for Matt Scott, just getting ahead in the count. Saw the 3 walks in the first inning. See if he's solved his command issues.
Got him. On the outside corner, called strike 3.
Just a perfect pitch, and especially with 2 strikes, that's one that could probably go either way. You're looking to get it either on the corner or just outside, and ends up getting the perfect strikeout, called 3.
Yeah, just enough break to catch that corner. McKay Barney, redshirt junior from Mesa, Arizona, transferred from South Mountain CC. Barney hitting 275 with no home runs and 5 RBI.
Should be 9-1-2 right now.
First pitch from Scott. Fires a fastball low and inside for ball 1. Barney began the season 8 for 16 in his first 8 games, but is 2 for 22 in the next 15 games. Looks at this one outside 2-0. Barney 1 for 2 yesterday. Two balls and no strikes. Hit on the ground, right to Bowser. 2 away.
Well, Matt Scott could certainly use a quick inning here. And at 30 pitches going into that batter. So now at 33, had to make quite a few pitches in that first inning with the 3 walks. But so far so good here to start the top of the second, facing the bottom of the order.
Here's Sam DiCarlo, freshman from Long Beach. As we're in the 9 spot in the Huskies order, that one just misses a little bit high for ball 1. DiCarlo slashing 288, 370, 394, 2 home runs, and 16 RBI. Millikan High School down in Southern California. DiCarlo had the solo walk-off home run against Utah back on March 11th. Huskies won their series at number 7 UCLA earlier this season. That one on a high chop. Cobb handles it. Bouncing throw, but it gets to Graham in time for the out. 3 up, 3 down. No score as we head to the bottom of the second. Drew Bowser, Alberto Rios, and Jimmy Natai due up for the Cardinal. Bottom of the second, we're scoreless here at Sunken Diamond. No better place to be on a Saturday afternoon, especially when the weather is like this. Bowser, junior from Los Angeles, slashing 254, 338, 508, 7 home runs and 24 driven in as this one's popped up, could be playable. Simpson and Tincher both giving chase as that lands just on the opposite side of the fence that separates the Stanford dugout area from the playing field.
Now I wonder, can a defender run around the outside and into the dugout and make the catch? I think that would be
Don't see why not.
I think that might be considered out of play. I don't know.
I don't see why not. Then again, he might need some friends to help him out there a little bit.
Maybe a better chance over by his own dugout.
That certainly was not going to happen in that particular instance with Bowser at the plate. No balls and 1 strike. Curve misses inside, 1-1. Bowser a bit of a rough patch right now, entering today's game just 2 for his last 26. 1-1. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes as Lord rears back and deals the fastball.
Baseball is such a tough game, especially from a mental standpoint. You go through those ups and downs, and the best players are able to stay level-headed throughout.
Stays alive here. And you know what? Hey, that's baseball, right? You know, you
Mm-hmm.
play so many games during the course of a year. You're going to have games like you have last night. You're going to have games like you had on Tuesday against Sacramento State. Those things just happen. Stay the course, see what happens. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball center field. Barney with the best shot at it, although it's falling into Morales. And right, he makes the catch. 1 gone.
Well, that's why you hear even the big leaguers so many times when they're asked questions after games, whether they're struggling, whether they're hot, so many times you just hear the phrase, that's baseball. And it's because of exactly what you said. It's such a long season, and there's so much, I don't want to say luck, but a little bit of karma, a little bit of bounces involved. You can hit balls hard and get unlucky. You can hit balls softly and they find holes. You just have to focus on the process and know that eventually the results come.
Well, that's baseball. That's what Alberto Rios said the day that he drove an 11 against Cal State Bakersfield. Yeah, 11 RBI in 1 game.
In 1 game.
Against the
I
Roadrunners.
still can't believe that. What a game.
Rios, a junior from Bellflower, California. Looks at this one. Fastball misses outside. He's ahead in the count 2-0. Rios slashing 346, 455, 591 with 7 home runs and 35 RBI on the season. Tied for the team lead still in that category with Carter Graham. 2-0. This one's tagged to center. Back. Barney. Track. And coming back in, making the catch just at the front of the track. 2 gone.
Boy, the way he was running back on that one, thought it had a chance, but actually played it pretty well, getting back to the spot, finding the wall, and still having time to turn around and not worry about a collision.
Well, here's Jimmy Natai, a freshman from Sydney, Australia. Natai batting 143 on the year, no home runs and 5 RBI. During in his 18th game this season, getting his 7th start. Facing off against Kiefer Lord, breaking ball misses outside for ball 1. And yeah, you know, that's baseball, and especially, you know, in the big leagues this time of year when people start to make grand generalizations about where a team is. We haven't even hit May yet. I generally don't think you know where teams are generally in the big leagues until Memorial Day or so. Unless you're the A's, we might know where they stand right now.
No, I think you're right. It's a good point because when you see teams go through tough 10-game stretches in the middle of the season, you don't necessarily think too much of it. I think we tend to overanalyze the beginning of seasons. But I would agree with you on the A's. I'd also say I think the Tampa Bay Rays are for real. A hot start for Tampa, I think, as we've seen in recent years, that team is very, very good.
Interesting dichotomy between those two organizations right now. 2 balls and 1 strike. I think I saw today where no California Major League Baseball teams as of today are above 500.
I think that's right. Yeah, the Angels and Dodgers are both at 500. Dodgers won today, so that puts them at 500. The Giants, I think, are the team that's interesting, and maybe to your point, it's hard to make big judgments this early. Obviously, a really tough start for San Francisco, but again, this is where I want a little more time to see that team play.
Yep. The 2-2. Got him looking. Fastball. Strike 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Cardinal. No score after 2 innings here at Sunken. Top of the third, top of the order. Huskies coming to the plate. Troy Clarity here, and Ben Ross taking you through the third and the fourth.
All right, thank you very much, Troy. Head to the top of the third inning. No score, Washington and number 9 Stanford. Top of the order for the Huskies here in inning number 3. Cam Clayton, Will Simpson, and A.J. Guerrero to face the right-hander Matt Scott back out for his third inning of work. Much better in the second inning. Went 1-2-3 after a tough first where he walked the bases loaded, but was able to get out of it. Clayton stands in, right-handed batter. Swings at the first pitch, slow chopper to third. Charging is Troy. Throws to first, a high throw, but grabbed by Graham. And 1 pitch, 1 out to start the third inning.
Graham also almost had to break out the go-go gadget arm on that one, but able to make the reach and record the out.
He's got that capability. He's got those Inspector Gadget tools when he needs them. So 1 away, and here's the powerful Will Simpson, another right-handed hitter. Walked back in the first inning, hitting .284 on the year with the conference leading 13 home runs. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it down the right side and out of play. And that's strike 1.
Gadget ruled, even though Penny and Brain did all the work. Got none of the credit.
I need to catch up on my Inspector Gadget. It's been about 25 years, I think, since I've seen an episode. But
it still hits.
It aged well, right?
Yes.
0-1 on Simpson. Curveball ripped into left field for a base hit over the head of Owen Cobb at short. And that's the first hit of the afternoon for Washington, a 1-out single in the third.
Simpson has made his name over the last couple of years by smashing the ball over the fence, but helping the Huskies get on the base paths here with a well-timed single. Had that one sized up the whole way.
No score, top of the third. A runner on first with 1 out for now. A.J. Guerrero, the number 3 hitter, flied to center his first time up today. Right-handed hitter batting .336 on the season. And a pitch low from Scott. 1-0. Guerrero, 6 home runs, 24 runs batted in. He comes in on a 10-game hitting streak. As Simpson takes a moderate lead off of first. He's got 2 stolen bases this year. Line drive into center field, and that's going to fall for a hit. In front of Park, going from first to third is Simpson on another single. And Washington threatening, runners on the corners and 1 out.
Well, 2 of the Huskies' best bats doing the job with back-to-back singles from Simpson and Guerrero. We'll see if they can keep it going here with Morales coming up to the plate.
So Matt Scott was able to get out of a jam in the first inning when he walked the bases loaded. That was with 2 outs. Now he's facing the cleanup hitter, left-handed hitting Kobe Morales with runners on first and third and just 1 away in a scoreless top of the third. Morales, one of those walks in the first inning, batting .309, 4 home runs, 23 RBIs. Scott from the stretch looking in, delivers off speed and just tipped foul at the plate, 0-1. So the Cardinal infield defense at double play depth, trying to get out of another jam. We talked about how last night both teams were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Can the Huskies strike first? The 0-1 to Morales. Fastball high, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, Stanford batters striking out 23 Huskies last night. So kudos to Quinn Matthews and Drew Dowd and Ryan Bruno, who has had a couple of terrific outings back-to-back, and Brant Panzer getting the win.
And just 2 walks,
yep.
Perhaps just as impressive.
More importantly.
Yeah, here's the 1-1 from Scott. Fastball high and away.
Well, because let's face it, walks have been an issue for Stanford. And coming into the series, even though they were averaging 10.35 strikeouts per 9 innings, their strikeout-to-walk ratio was still just over 2 entering this series. So walks, a bit of an issue for Stanford this year. Not last night.
Pitch to Morales, another fastball high. And now the count is 3-1 with Johnny Tincher waiting on deck. So Simpson on third, Guerrero on first, 1 out. No score in the third. And Morales awaiting a 3-1 pitch. Here it comes. In the dirt, ball 4, and that loads the bases.
Well, pitch selection and location are going to be paramount for Scott here in this situation, and also probably need to get a little help from his defense as well.
That's the 4th walk issued already for Matt Scott. He walked 3 in the first inning. And now an opportunity for Tincher to put Washington in front. Hitting .286 on the year, 6 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Scott from the windup. And a fastball right on the outside corner at the knees, 0-1.
Nick Dugan was just heading down to the Stanford bullpen.
Scott up to 47 pitches here with 1 out in the 3rd. The 0-1. Another fastball, that one just low. 1-1. Tincher, the lone preseason All Pac-12 selection on this Washington team. He was all conference last year. Redshirt junior waits for the 1-1. In the air, down the left field line, hit well. It has home run distance. Is it fair or foul? It's foul. By just a few feet. Wow. That was close. It's just a loud strike to make it 1-2.
Yeah, and the only question there was which side of the foul pole that ball was going to land on. And it seemed like it was going to land foul off the bat. And I started to have some doubts as I watched the flight of the ball.
The 1-2 from Scott. In the dirt and all the way to the backstop. Here comes Simpson to the plate. He scores. Everybody moves up, and Washington has the lead 1-0. Seventh wild pitch issued this season for Matt Scott. And now runners still on 2nd and 3rd with 1 away. Huskies up a run. Scott from the windup, the 2-2 pitch. Just fouled at the plate by Tincher. Pretty good breaking pitch there from Scott, and Tincher did a good job just to stay alive. Live to see another pitch. Scott, again from the windup. The 2-2. And another foul. Tincher battling. Another tough pitch where he reached out the bat and just got a piece of it. And this is a good battle now between these two. Stanford infield playing back. Another 2-2 pitch. Up the middle, off of Scott. He collects, flips it to the plate, and safe is the call. Guerrero got around the tag of Malcolm Moore, and it's 2-0.
The shovel was in time, but Guerrero able to just slide around and make the adjustment and beat the tag attempt from Moore. Nice finish to that base running by Guerrero.
Yeah, that was a great play by everybody involved. Scott collected himself after it went off his foot, was able to make an accurate flip to the plate, and as you said, Troy, it looked like it was in time, but a perfect slide. And Morales came home to make it 2-0. Now runners on the corners with 1 out for Jeter Ibarra. Fastball low and away, ball 1.
Going back to that long foul ball by Tincher, they've placed more cameras around Sunken Diamond very recently. Of course, instant replay being a thing in baseball as well.
1-0 pitch swung on and missed.
So they've got cameras, they've got several across the top of the press box pointing towards first base, second base, third base. One that point, they've got one. They've got others above the concourse, the upper concourse, that point down the lines. They also have cameras about halfway up the foul poles, respectively, that look down the line from those respective perspectives.
1-1 pitch, that gets away from Moore. And here comes Morales to the plate. Another wild pitch, and it's 3-0 Huskies. And Tincher moves up to second. And now Thomas Eager coming out of the Stanford dugout. And let's see if that's it for Scott.
Well, Nick Dugan was in full warm-up mode a few moments ago. He stepped off the mound right now as if he is perhaps expecting to be called in, and yep, that'll be it for Scott.
So Eager makes the call to the bullpen. Tough inning for Scott. He'll exit with 1 out. 3 runs in, still responsible for Tincher on second. And he gets a round of applause from the crowd here at Sunken Diamond. We'll take a break. Tell you about the new pitcher when we return. Washington leading Stanford 3-0 on Pac-12+. Nick Dugan, the new pitcher for Stanford, making his 13th appearance of the season. The right-hander, no record, a 9.75 ERA in 24 innings of work, 26 strikeouts, and 15 walks. And so he replaces Matt Scott, 1 away in the top of the third. 3 runs in for the Huskies. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. And he inherits a 2-1 count on Jeter Ibarra with Johnny Tincher on second base. Big swing and a miss. Pulled the string, 2-2.
Scott walking 4, striking out 2, but dealing 2 wild pitches through 2 1/3. Obviously can't close the book on him just yet, as Scott is also responsible for Johnny Tincher at second.
Dugan, the freshman from Eureka, California. 2-2 pitch. Pulled just foul, a little slow roller. And it will remain 2-2.
So not quite the outing that Scott was hoping to have after giving up 6 runs against the Oregon Ducks last week. Just couldn't quite seem to find the strike zone.
Yeah, that first inning he walked 3. You thought maybe in the second he sort of found it with a 1-2-3 inning. As the 2-2 pitch just outside, 3-2.
Good curve from Dugan there.
So a full count with the number seven-hitter Michael Snyder on deck. Tincher takes his lead off of second. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. Another curve, and that's a big second out.
Curve outside, then came back with the curve down the middle that Ibarra just could not connect on. And Jeter's now struck out twice in his plate appearances so far today.
So 2 away, and here's Snyder, who struck out his first time up in the second inning. The junior batting .209 on the year, 4 home runs, 22 runs batted in. First pitch in the dirt, good block by Moore. 1-0.
Well, not for nothing, Husky batters have already struck out 26 times in this series. Now, of course, last night was a 16-inning game, but still.
That's right, 23 strikeouts last night. 3 for each side so far today. 1-0 pitch. On the inside corner with a fastball, 1-1. 3 runs on 2 hits, 1 error for Washington. No runs, 1 hit, no errors for Stanford. We're in the top of the third, 2 out. Runner on second. 1-1 pitch off the fist to third base, slow roller. Troy across the diamond in time, and that will end the inning. But Washington brings home 3 runs, and at the end of 2.5 at Sunken Diamond, Washington 3, Stanford nothing. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. Beautiful Saturday afternoon, 77 degrees, blue skies overhead. Thanks for joining us on Pac-12 Plus. Ben Ross and Troy Clarity on the call, and here's Owen Cobb to lead off the bottom of the third for Stanford. Kiefer Lord delivers a fastball on the inside corner for strike 1. It'll be Cobb, and then back to the top of the order, Eddie Park and Carter Graham. Cobb hitting .346 on the year, 4 home runs, 23 runs batted in. As the 0-1 is another fastball, that time on the outside corner, and quickly 0-2.
Cobb, a Seattle kid. To Seattle Academy, but played his baseball at Garfield High School.
The 0-2 from Lord. Line drive and a leaping catch at first base by Simpson. He climbed the ladder to take a base hit away from Owen Cobb.
Was right in the correct spot. Was just able to leap up, use 6'4" of his frame and a bit of his wingspan as well to get to that one. Well played by Simpson.
So Will Simpson with those 13 home runs this year, tied for the conference lead. Also showing he can flash the leather a little bit as well. And that's the first out in the bottom of the third. And now back to the top of the order for Eddie Park. Reached on an error his first time up, batting .335 on the year. As a curveball on the inside corner for strike one.
Curve with some movement. That one just broke in on Park.
Kiefer Lord, the junior right-hander, has been sharp so far today, leading 3-0 for the Huskies. 0-1, poked foul, just reaching out was Park to get a piece of another off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2.
And Lord at UCLA pitched well. Got the start, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, both earned. Struck out 8, just 1 walk, but was charged with a loss. So he pitched well, but wasn't helped out by his lineup that day.
Here's the 0-2. Tipped and held for strike 3. And on 3 pitches, Eddie Park retired.
4th strikeout of the afternoon so far for Lord, who is changing speeds, changing locations. He's firing fastballs. He's got a nice break on his curve as well. He's kind of keeping Stanford off balance to this point.
The local kid coming back home from San Carlos, went to Menlo High School. And he is pitching well as Carter Graham steps in. First pitch, line drive into right field, and a base hit. So Carter Graham didn't waste any time, got a fastball away, went with the pitch, and lined it past the diving second baseman DiCarlo for the second hit of the day for the Cardinal.
Yeah, he rarely wastes time, it seems, in his plate appearances. You know, first pitch, second pitch, he's swinging if he sees something that he likes, and he just goes for it. His plate appearances tend to not take very long, but many of them have been very productive, especially after the relatively slow start that he had earlier in the season. This guy's heated up a lot, too.
Yeah, extends the inning for Tommy Troy, who singled his first time up today. Curveball in the dirt. Nice block by Johnny Tincher. He was on the all-defensive team last year at catcher for Washington. He's thrown out 10 of 21 attempted base stealers this year. What a catcher he is. Curveball, wave, and a miss. And it's 1-1 on Troy.
Yeah, Husky head coach Jason Kelly, a big fan of Johnny Tincher's. He told the Seattle Times about Johnny, look, he doesn't have a blazing gun arm, but he's very accurate, and he's a terrific blocker as well.
Saw that a couple pitches ago. 1-1. Park tried to hold the swing, couldn't do it. He went around, Troy rather, and it's 1-2. So Kiefer Lord continues to keep these hitters off balance. Ahead in the count, 1-2. From the stretch, the delivery. And a fastball just outside. Lord took a couple of steps off the mound, thought he might have strike 3 there, but didn't get the call from Joe Maiden, home plate umpire. 2-2. Small lead at first for Graham, the 2-2 pitch. Hit sharply, diving stop at short by Clayton. Throws to first, it's late. And it'll be an infield single for Troy, who's now 2 for 2, and the inning continues.
Well, Clayton did all he could, somehow snaring that one, going to ground. He might have been even surprised that he was able to get the full webbing on that one. Made the throw, it was just off target. Give Troy the infield single, his second base hit of the day.
Tommy Troy now hitting .403 after those 2 hits today. And a 2-out rally for the Cardinal to get Braden Montgomery to the plate. He represents the tying run. Down 3-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. First pitch swinging, fouled back out of play.
Well, an answer situation for the Cardinal after they gave up 3 in the top of the 3rd. Certainly the right guy, or one of the right guys, to give Stanford 3 right here with 1 swing of the bat.
Curveball, pulled foul, 0-2. Montgomery struck out his first time today, batting .341. 9 home runs, 33 RBIs. Preseason All-American, 2-way star. Recently named to the John Olerud Award watch list. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 3. And what a job by Kiefer Lord, who's now up to 5 strikeouts through 3 scoreless innings. We'll head to the 4th at Stanford. Washington leads it 3-0. the top of the fourth inning at Sunken Diamond. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. Ben Ross and Troy Clarity with you on Pac-12 Plus. A beautiful Saturday afternoon on the farm. Temperature 77 degrees. A little bit of a breeze. Blue skies overhead. In the second game of this 3-game series. And so far, Washington with the lead, as it'll be the 8-9 hitters coming up. McKay Barney takes ball one high and away from Nick Dugan, back out for his second inning of work out of the bullpen. Barney grounded to second back in the second inning. He's hitting .268 on the year. As a fastball low for ball 2, 2-0. It'll be Barney, Sam DiCarlo, and Cam Clayton, as Washington looking to even this series after Stanford got the 3-1 win last night in 16 innings, a marathon game. 2-0 pitch, that's low, 3-0. So we saw Matt Scott, the starting pitcher for Stanford, walk 4. Dugan came in, got out of the third inning, but now 3-0 on Barney. And now the 3-0 delivery. That's right down the middle for a strike, 3-1.
During that last half inning, there were some reinforcements heading down to the Stanford bullpen with a couple of pitchers heading down that way. No one warming up right now. They're just getting guys over that way in case they're needed.
Another fastball in there for strike 2, 3-2. And yeah, I'm sure David Esker would be hoping for some innings out of Nick Dugan now. Maybe try and save the bullpen a little bit, especially after going 16 innings last night. Here's the payoff pitch. Fouled back, out of play.
Well, the good news is that even though that game went 16 innings last night, they only used 4 pitchers.
Good point.
Stanford. So, and the bullpen, which has been a subplot for Stanford throughout the course of this season, was terrific. Absolutely lights out.
Another payoff pitch from Dugan. Just low, ball 4. And a leadoff walk for Barney.
So even though that game went deep into the night, David Esker and Thomas Eager didn't necessarily have to go deep into the pitching staff. And they would prefer to have that be a similar situation here today. So let's see how this all turns out.
That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Sam DiCarlo, after the leadoff walk to Barney. DiCarlo, right-hand hitting freshman, 0 for 1 today, hitting .286 on the year. And the first pitch is a fastball right on the outside corner, 0-1.
5 walks versus 3 strikeouts issued by Stanford pitchers so far today. And we mentioned that Stanford 10th in the Pac-12 in strikeout to walk ratio. Reminder that there are 11 teams in baseball in the Pac-12.
Throw to first to check on Barney, who dives back safely. Washington leading Stanford 3-0, top of the 4th. Barney does have pretty good speed, 1 for 2 stealing bases this year. He's got a big lead. Right foot just about even with the cut of the infield grass. And another throw back to first, and he dives back safely. Washington doesn't run a lot, just 18 stolen bases as a team this year. That's the fewest in the Pac-12. 0-1 the count on DiCarlo. Here's the delivery and the pitch outside, 1-1.
Yeah, just 28 stolen base attempts overall this year. Tincher, 4 for 8, leading UW in both of those categories.
How about that? Your catcher
Yeah.
leading in stolen bases. We talked about how good he is throwing out attempted base stealers. There goes the runner, a curveball chopper to third. Troy jumps to make the play, throws to first, and it bounces out of the glove of Graham, who tried to stretch and pick it. We'll see how they score it, but everybody is safe. It's going to go as an error on the throw, so E5. And now 2 on, no one out for the Huskies, and the leadoff hitter, Cam Clayton, coming up.
Well, and Troy kind of took a bit of a half step towards home plate after the chop of that ball, and then sized it back up and was able to recover. And perhaps that little half step toward home plate may have cost him a little bit.
So now Clayton, right-handed hitter, coming up. Curveball on the inside corner for a strike. Well, with certain teams, you might expect a bunt here, but Washington does not sacrifice much. In fact, they only have one sacrifice bunt the whole season. Full swing on a curveball, fouled away, and it's 0-2.
Clayton on a 7-game hit streak, by the way.
Trying to continue that today. He's 0 for 2, but hitting .338 on the year. 8 home runs, 27 runs batted in. Dugan ahead in the count. Takes a look back at second. Now comes to the plate. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Rung up by the first base umpire, Brett Terry. And a big strikeout for Dugan for out number 1.
Well, that's step 1, as Clayton just couldn't lay off the high stuff.
That was a nice sequence from Dugan, who went down with some off speed and then came back with the high fastball. And as you said, Troy, Clayton tried to lay off but just couldn't do it.
Well, here's where the hard work really begins now.
Yeah, Will Simpson, powerful hitter, right-handed batter, steps in and looks at ball 1 a little low. Simpson 1 for 1 with a single and a walk today. He's also scored a run, hitting .289, 13 home runs, 34 RBIs. Dugan from the stretch, the 1-0. Fastball outside, 2-0.
Simpson taken by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 18th round of the 2019 Major League Baseball draft.
All Pac-12 last season for the Washington Huskies. 6'4", 225. Head in the count. And a 2-0 curveball bends in for a strike.
Just fell off the table. Just floated, almost like that Bugs Bunny pitch, right? The one that just kind of flows through the air.
Well, to do that on 2-0 is impressive, and that's what you've got to do against a hitter like Simpson. You don't want him ready for a fastball. A swing and a miss at the 2-1 pitch, and it's 2-2. Another off speed, looked like it was sinking, maybe out of the zone.
Dugan doing well to even up the count after going down quickly 2-0.
He struck out Clayton. Can he get Simpson? The 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Nick Dugan. And now 2 away.
Breaking ball to get back in it. And a couple of fastballs to help finish it.
So not quite out of the woods yet, as he's still got to get through the number 3 hitter, A.J. Guerrero, who extended his hitting streak to 11 games with a single in the 3rd inning. Washington up 3-0, top of the 4th, 2 on, 2 out. Right-handed hitter Guerrero swings and fouls the first pitch back out of play. Guerrero 1 for 2 with a run scored, hitting .341, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs. Barney on second, DiCarlo on first, 2 away. And the 0-1 pitch. Curveball fouled back into the screen, 0-2.
Dugan doing a good job of mixing it up.
Just like we saw Kiefer Lord doing on the other side for Washington.
Yep.
So after the first 2 runners reached, Dugan was able to strike out Clayton and Simpson, the 1 and 2 hitters in the lineup. Ahead in the count on Guerrero, 0-2. Here's the pitch. Fastball just missed, maybe a little high. 1-2. Guerrero, the sophomore from Fife, Washington, trying to add to this lead for the Huskies. 3-0 in the top of the 4th, leading number 9 Stanford. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. 3 straight strikeouts for Nick Dugan, and he strands the runners. What a job by the right-hander. And he keeps it 3-0. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Cardinal down by 3. Bottom of the 4th inning at Sunken Diamond. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. Cardinals sending up the 5, 6, and 7 hitters. Malcolm Moore, Drew Bowser, Alberto Rios. And Kiefer Lord delivers just outside with a breaking ball, 1-0.
Well, and how about Nick Dugan? First 2 guys reach, and he strikes out back-to-back batters to get himself out of the mini threat.
Here's the 1-0. Ripped foul down the right field line, 1-1.
And as many lumps as the Cardinal bullpen has taken throughout much of the season, this week they've actually performed quite well.
Really have.
Stabilizing things against Sacramento State when that game was 15-2, allowing Stanford to get back into it and actually make that a game.
Swing and a miss at the high fastball, 1-2.
And of course, last night's doings with Dowd and Bruno and Panther slamming the door after Quinn Matthews went 9 to be sure, but the Stanford bullpen also got on the good foot last night too.
Lord out of the windup, delivers on 1-2, another foul ball out of play.
And there's no question that's what this Stanford season is going to be hinged upon going forward, especially when you get into postseason situations where you need as many of your arms as you can possibly have pitching at a high level.
In the air to left, charging in is Guerrero, and he makes the catch for out number 1. Well, Kiefer Lord just keeps rolling along for Washington. He's now through 3 1/3, scoreless. 3 hits allowed, 5 strikeouts, no walks. And the right-hander coming back home to the Bay Area, and a really strong start to this game against a dangerous Stanford lineup. Here's the 6-hitter, Drew Bowser. Fastball in there for a strike.
And Lord, a heck of a story. He went to Carleton College in Minnesota. He thought he'd just go there and earn a computer science degree and go into the software business. But when the pandemic hit, he kind of used that free time to do some research on mechanics and lifting. And he went from hitting 81 on the gun to hitting 90 in just 3 months. And he was actually up to 97 this past fall. So wow. Coming into college, beginning his collegiate career, he was thinking, I'll just do this for a few years and get a degree and go into the software biz after that. Now he's thinking of going pro.
You can hit 97. You're definitely in that conversation. 1-2 on Bowser, who's 0 for 1 today. Batting .252 on the year, 7 home runs, 24 RBIs. 1-2 pitch fouled away.
Jason Kelly, who is longtime pitching coach before finally getting a shot to run the program this year, his first year as the head coach at Washington after being the pitching coach there for many years under Lindsey Megg says, hey, Kiefer, I don't know if I'd consider him a surprise, but he's much better than we thought he'd be this year.
And there's another strikeout. 6th punch out today for Kiefer Lord. Well, we mentioned earlier this year he had that tremendous outing in early March that earned him the National Pitcher of the Week from Perfect Game. Also was the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week that week, March 7th. He's having that type of outing so far today. Of course, we're still early, but through 3 2/3, he has struck out 6, and now it's Alberto Rios stepping to the plate with 2 out. Lines the first pitch foul.
Going back to the Stanford bullpen, it is intriguing to note that as many lumps as Stanford's bullpen has taken, when Stanford has the lead after 6 innings, they are 20-0. So there is that.
That's a great stat. Fastball outside, 1-1. That's big. I mean, when you can go into the late innings with a lead and come out with the win, obviously you'll have some hiccups here and there, although at 20-0, the Cardinal have not yet. Fly ball center field. Barney is there, and it's another 1-2-3 inning. So Kiefer Lord threw 4 scoreless, 6 strikeouts, and we will head to the 5th at Stanford, Washington, with a 3-0 lead. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond. Washington leading Stanford 3-0 as we head to the 5th inning. And with Troy Clardy, Ben Ross will send it back over to Troy for the play-by-play.
3 runs, 2 hits, 1 error for the Huskies. No runs, 3 hits, 1 error for the Stanford Cardinal. Top of the 5th, game 2 of this 3-game series. Stanford won last night 3-1 in 16 innings. Huskies have struck first, all 3 runs in the top of the 4th. Nick Dugan on the mound deals a first pitch curve to Kobe Morales, called strike 1. Morales, with a couple plate appearances, walked in both of them. Scored on a wild pitch, one of 2 wild pitches thrown by Matt Scott in the top half of the 3rd. Dugan with a leadoff walk. And a throwing error by Tommy Troy at 3rd, so he had 2 on with nobody out, but then Dugan able to recover and get Clayton, Simpson, and Guerrero, the 1-2-3 batters, to strike out swinging. Pitch misses down low, 1-1. Other scores around the Pac-12. Washington State beats Santa Clara 8-3 up in Pullman. Cal leading Oregon 3-2 there in the top of the 4th over at Evans Diamond. 0-1. Fastball down low, blocked by Moore. 2-1. Everyone else plays later today. Crosstown series, UCLA over at Dato Field to face USC. Utah at Arizona. Both those games get going at 6 p.m. And Oregon State, Arizona State down in Phoenix at 6:30. The 2-1. Just fouled off as it trickles back to Dugan. Count goes to 2-2. Oregon State holding off Arizona State last night, 13-11. So that result, coupled with Stanford's win, gives Stanford sole possession of first place in the conference entering today. 2 balls and 2 strikes for the batter, Morales. The 2-2. Through the hole and into right field for a base hit.
Boy, that was a nice piece of hitting by Morales. It was a tough pitch that was down. He just sort of bent his knees and really took a lot off his swing, sort of guided it through the hole there on the right side and has himself a leadoff single.
Johnny Tincher walked in the first. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice that went back to Matt Scott, the Stanford pitcher. Scott recovered well, shoveled it to home plate, but A.J. Guerrero was just able to avoid the tag from Malcolm Moore. That put the Huskies ahead 2-0 at that point in the top of the third. Dugan checking the wristband, checks the runner, and comes to the plate. Fastball right down the middle for strike 1. One thing to keep in mind, Arizona State and Washington, that series last week up in Seattle went just 2 games. They couldn't play the third one due to weather. So something to keep in mind as you take a peek at the standings going forward. 0-1 curve, big swing and a miss by Tincher. Weather can be a factor at times up in Seattle, I'm told.
Yeah, every once in a while.
The 0-2 to Tincher. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Boy, Dugan is looking really impressive today. That was a great curveball. You talked about keeping these hitters off balance, and so far he has been terrific and valuable getting through these middle innings for the Cardinal.
And even though the curve has looked good, that hasn't been his only out pitch. He's been able to get the fastball past guys as well. Junior Ibarra 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Colby Morales with a leadoff single. He is at first. On a couple of hops, through the hole, just where Morales put it into right field. So singles by Morales, who's now at third, and one now by Ibarra, who's at first.
Yeah, a little bit of bad luck for Dugan. That ball wasn't hit very hard, but it just found the perfect spot, the hole between first and second. And now another jam. We saw Dugan get out of it last inning with 2 on and nobody out. Can he work his magic again and keep this a 3-run game?
Well, and that might be one of the few times where it's advisable to try to take an extra base with Braden Montgomery in right field, right?
Yeah, that's about it. If it's hit that slowly and you're already at second base. But careful. Careful when you try and take an extra 90 on Braden.
Husky base runner almost paid that price yesterday, making a play a bit closer than it probably should have been. Took third, but just barely on Montgomery. Here's Michael Snyder, 0 for 2, strikeout in the second, ground out to end the third. Runs to the corners, 1 out. Dugan pumps one in there, called strike 1. Snyder, 4 home runs on the season. 3 of them came within 6 days of each other. Had 2 against Rhode Island and then 1 at UCLA in mid-March. So he had a bit of a power stroke a few weeks ago. Blocked by Moore, 1-1. Snyder from Harvard Westlake High School. Same high school as Drew Bowser. Currently at second base for the Cardinals.
It's a good program down there. They got some major leaguers.
They've turned out some student athletes. Curve, swing and a miss, 1-2. And you look at their distinguished alumni list, and it's not just athletes. You know, guys like
everything.
Jason and Jaron Collins. It's pretty impressive.
Yep.
A lot of folks that you see on TV and in the movies, folks like that. A 1-2. Does he hold up? No.
Wow.
Strike 3.
Big pitch and a really good one. From our angle, it was hard to see if he went around, but first base umpire Brett Terry was pretty quick with that call to punch him out. And how about Nick Dugan? He is racking up these strikeouts. That's his 6th in just 2 1/3 innings.
The first 3, or at least he had 3 in a row after 2 were on with nobody out. Trying to perform a somewhat similar feat here with 2 on. 2 out now for Barney, who walked in his last plate appearance in the 4th inning. On a couple of hops, Bowser charging, throws to first in time for the out. Huskies leave 2 on. Nick Dugan keeping UW at bay. 3-0, Huskies still on top. Bottom 5th at Sunken Diamond. Washington Huskies leading the 9th-ranked Stanford Cardinal 3-0. 8-9-1 batters due up for the Cardinal in this frame, beginning with Jimmy Natai, the designated hitter who struck out to end the 2nd inning. Natai actually moved to Atlanta in 2010 and began playing baseball there before heading back down under as part of the Australian national team system there. Curve from Kiefer Lord misses down low for ball 1. One ball and no strikes from Lord. Fouled off, 1-1. Lord has done well, 4+, and has really at times shackled the Stanford batting order. 6 strikeouts, no walks. 1 ball and 1 strike. High chopper right to third. Snyder rifles it across the diamond. 1 gun.
Kiefer Lord, 60 pitches through 4 innings. We'll see how deep into this game he can go. And again, coming off a 16-inning game last night, I'm sure they'd love to see him go as deep as possible, though. 6 pitchers used by the Huskies last night. 5 out of the bullpen.
Yeah, all things considered, they pitched a good game as well.
Both teams. I mean, you get a 3-1 game in 16 innings. Pitching's pretty good.
Owen Cobb back to the screen. Cobb lined out to first. Will Simpson reached up and got it. The 0-1. Curveball off the fists into center. Barney makes the grab. Back at the top of the order we go. Eddie Park reached on an error in the first, struck out in the third. in the middle of Cardinal Palooza, where it just seems like every sport is going on here on the athletic corner of the Stanford campus. Softball is in progress right now. Cal's up 3-0, the last score I saw there. They went to extras last night, by the way. Only 8 innings there. Took in about 20 minutes or so of the spring football showcase before coming back over to Sunken Diamond. As Park watches a fastball go upstairs for ball one. And it wasn't a full-on spring game like had been run previously. It was a practice more often than not, but there were some moments where you saw guys go 11 on 11. No tackling, but. And look, you don't come away from a spring game generally with any huge, big, grand conclusions. At least you hope you don't anyway. But one grand conclusion I've come to for Stanford football this year, it's going to run a lot faster. On a couple of hops, DiCarlo, the first in time for the out. That half inning went pretty fast, just like Stanford football might be doing this fall. Up tempo. 3-0 Huskies after 5. Five innings are in the books here at Sunken Diamond. The Washington Huskies with all 3 of their runs in the top of the 3rd. It remains 3-0 as we head to the 6th. On the call of the 6th and the 7th, Ben Ross.
All right, thank you, Troy. Yeah, an impressive pitching performance so far from Kiefer Lord, shutting the Stanford offense down. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. And here's the right-handed hitting Sam DiCarlo to lead off against Nick Dugan. Right-handed pitcher with a nice breaking ball swung on and missed. 0-1. It'll be DiCarlo and then back to the top of the order, Cam Clayton and Will Simpson. Dugan now through 2 2/3 in relief. No runs, 6 strikeouts. Right-hander delivers another breaking ball, waved at and missed, and it's 0-2.
Hasn't been easy. He's done some of his best work with runners on base.
But he's managed to keep it a 3-run game and keep this Cardinal offense within striking distance. The 0-2 in the dirt. 1-2.
Dugan's longest outing from an innings pitch standpoint, he threw 4 against Cal State Bakersfield back on March 5th. 7 runs, 4 runs. Check out 7 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. Struck out 6 along the way. 79 pitches of work.
Dugan going from the stretch. The 1-2 pitch, fastball line to right, playable for Montgomery, takes a few steps back and makes the catch for out number 1. So DiCarlo now 0 for 3 today, and now back to the top of the order, Cam Clayton, who's also 0 for 3, looking for his first hit. Hitting .336 on the season. 8 home runs, 27 RBIs. Another right-handed hitter. 6 of the 9 starters today for Washington, batting from the right side. Fastball right at the knees for strike 1.
Mentioned Stanford football holding its spring showcase today. Obviously, expectations quite high up in Seattle. The Heisman hype has begun once again for Michael Penix Jr.
Breaking ball, line to left. Chasing is Rios, and he's there. A few steps in front of the warning track to make the catch. Out number 2. Yeah, that Michael Penix, quite a player, and I'm excited to see what he does this year. Those Huskies are going to be an exciting team to watch once again.
Pac-12 top to bottom could be quite compelling. I saw it was snowing at the Colorado spring football game earlier today.
Hey, wouldn't have it any other way in Boulder. Here's the powerful Will Simpson. Takes a fastball inside.
Hey, did they hire a new football coach yet?
Haven't heard.
All right.
Anybody like a big name, perhaps?
I don't know. Whatever.
Do you think we should say it for the few people who might not know?
If they don't get it, if they don't know by now.
I'll give you a hint. Neon. Neon Dion. Google it, kids. 1-0 pitch in the dirt. 2-0 to the right-handed hitting Will Simpson, who's 1 for 2 with a walk. Also singled and scored a run. Batting .287 on the year, tied for the conference lead with 13 home runs. The powerful junior from Sammamish, Washington. Dugan comes set, the 2-0 pitch. Check swing, they'll say he went around. That time it was the home plate umpire, Joe Maiden, making the call himself, 2-1. Simpson, all Pac-12 last year. As we mentioned earlier, he was an 18th round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates a few years ago out of high school in 2019. 2-1 pitch. Beautiful breaking ball. Dips right in for a strike 2.
He's been able to get that curve over consistently throughout this outing. He's been able to get UW hitters to chase on a few of those occasions as well in big situations.
2-2 on Simpson. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 7 for Nick Dugan. Through 3 2/3 scoreless out of the pen. What a job today for Nick Dugan. Keeps this a 3-0 Washington lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th inning at Klein Field at Sunken Diamond. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. Ben Ross and Troy Clarity with you on Pac-12 Plus. Just a gorgeous spring Saturday afternoon on the farm. Blue skies, 77 degrees, slight breeze as Carter Graham leads off and takes a fastball that nearly hit him from Kiefer Lord inside for ball 1. It'll be Graham, Tommy Troy, and Braden Montgomery, the heart of the order, as the Cardinal looking to battle back down 3. Lord delivers a fastball low, 2-0.
Heart of the order and the 3rd time through as Lord has retired 7 straight.
He's been impressive. 5 shutout innings, just 3 hits allowed, 6 strikeouts, no walks. Righty-righty battle here as that's high for ball 3, so 3-0, and Lord in danger of walking his first batter of the day.
It's only the second 3-ball count, by my count, that Lord has had so far this afternoon.
Here's the 3-0 on the inside corner at the knees for a strike. Graham thought maybe ball 4, took a couple steps toward first base, but it's 3-1. Graham 1 for 2 today with a base hit back in the 3rd inning. The 3-1 pitch popped up, shallow right center field. Barney is there, calls off Morales to make the catch. So a nice job by Lord, who fell behind 3-0, but still able to get Graham. And that will bring up Tommy Troy, who has been swinging a red-hot bat. 2 for 2 today with a couple singles. Of course, he had the walk-off home run last night in the 16th inning to give Stanford a 3-1 win. Big curveball swung on and missed as Lord gets ahead 0-1.
Might have been thinking about that home run last night as he tried to take a cut at that one.
Kiefer Lord from nearby San Carlos. 0-1 pitch is a fastball away, 1-1.
Interesting windup from Lord as he kind of takes a little bit of a step back to begin his windup and maybe kind of square his body towards home plate a little bit, then corkscrew and then release.
Here's the 1-1. Chop to shortstop. Clayton waits for it. Quick release and a strong throw to first. 2 up, 2 down.
Well handled by Clayton, but so maybe in part of his studies and how to learn about mechanics and getting stronger, how he spent part of his free time during the pandemic, maybe he kind of tweaked his windup a little bit, maybe get a little more torque. I took one physics class in college and got the heck out of there as quickly as I possibly could.
That's one more than I took. Congratulations.
But perhaps that helps him out a little bit.
Switch hitting Braden Montgomery coming up. Batting left, takes a curveball for a strike. Well, you're right, Lord, a lot of movement in his windup, and perhaps that also can be tough for a hitter.
Right.
You know, he reminds me of sort of, even though this is a lefty, is Alex Wood. Like a right-handed Alex Wood with all that movement, as that one is fouled back to the screen, 0-2.
A little hard to see where the ball's coming from.
Yeah, just a lot of limbs coming at you.
Yeah, yep.
Well, he's ahead in the count here, 0-2. And the pitch to Montgomery. Outside, 1-2. Montgomery, a couple of strikeouts today. 0 for 2, still batting .339 on the year. 9 home runs, 33 runs batted in. For the All-American, two-way player. Here's the 1-2. Ripped down the right field line, but just foul. Nearly had extra bases there. Maybe foul by about 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, just got in front of that one.
3-0 Washington. Bottom of the 6th inning. Kiefer Lord has been impressive. Here's the 1-2. Fastball high, 2-2. Now up to 81 pitches for the right-hander. Washington bullpen is completely silent, as you might expect with Lord pitching this well. Curveball chopped to the right side. Nice hop for Simpson at first base. Takes it himself. And it's a 1-2-3 inning, and that's 10 in a row retired for Kiefer Lord through 6 scoreless innings and 6 strikeouts. We'll head to the top of the 7th. Washington leading Stanford 3-0. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Washington leading number 9 Stanford 3-0. And they will send up the 3-4-5 hitters against Nick Dugan, A.J. Guerrero, Kobe Morales, and Johnny Tincher. As Guerrero, the big right-hander, swings and misses for strike one. Good curveball from Dugan, who has been excellent out of the bullpen. 3 2/3 scoreless, 7 strikeouts. This will be his 59th pitch. 0-1, grounder to short. Cobb stays down on it, throws to first, and just in time to retire Guerrero.
Well, how about this from the Stanford bullpen this series? 11 innings pitched, no runs, 2 walks, 20 strikeouts.
My goodness. Let me ask you something, Troy. Is a 10-1 strikeout to walk ratio good?
I think that's pretty decent. I think that gets you in the team picture.
That'll play?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
Well, Dugan is now through 4 scoreless, and again, he's done his job. He's eaten some innings, and he's kept Stanford right in this game down 3. As the cleanup hitter Kobe Morales steps in from the left side, swings and fouls it out of play off behind third base. 0-1.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, the wind has picked up a little bit as the flags are moving from left to, or check that, from right to left at this exact moment in time. A few seconds ago, it was more blowing out to left.
Dugan from the stretch delivers in the dirt. 1-1. Morales has been on base all 3 times today. 2 walks and a single. He's scored a run. Batting .315 on the year with 4 home runs and 23 runs batted in. 1-1. Low and in, 2-1.
Even though things looked a little bit shaky in the 4th when the Huskies had 2 on and nobody out, and maybe even in the 5th when the Huskies had 2 on and 1 out, Dugan able to rear back and get himself out of those mini jams and continue to help stabilize things in the bullpen.
Delivers a nice off-speed pitch and gets a swing and a miss from Morales, 2-2.
And remember in that 4th inning when there were multiple pitchers dashing down to the Stanford bullpen, see if their services might be needed. They haven't been so far.
2-2 pitch in the dirt. And the count runs full with Johnny Tincher waiting on deck. 1 out, top of the 7th. Washington leading Stanford 3-0. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Cardinal took game 1 last night, a marathon outing. 3-1 in 16 innings. As the payoff pitch is just outside for ball 4. And that's only the 2nd walk issued by Nick Dugan. So that's the 4th time that Morales has been on base today. What a game.
Yeah.
And here comes the right-handed hitting Johnny Tincher. 0 for 2 with a walk and an RBI. And let's see if he's going to face a new pitcher as we're getting a visit from the Stanford dugout. Thomas Eager, the pitching coach in his 6th season, walking to the mound. See if he wants to go to the bullpen.
Mentioned last night's game, and given the fact that it was a 16-inning affair that didn't end until 10:32 local time, there was still a pretty good crowd at the end of this one. I wasn't one of them, I'll admit. I left at the end of the 10th, but you know, there will be a pitching change here. But those are really good crowds still here at the end of it to watch it all.
Hey, Friday night, nice evening, well-pitched game, why not? All right, let's step aside for this pitching change. What a job by Nick Dugan. 4 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. And the Cardinal now going back to the pen. We'll be back in a moment on Pac-12 Plus. First, Washington leading Stanford 3-0 here in the top of the 7th. So Tincher stands in 0 for 2 with a walk and an RBI. Morales on first. Sidearm delivery, and it's inside and hits Tincher on the left hip, it looked like. And Tincher's okay. He'll head down to first, but now 2 on for the Huskies.
Well, an inauspicious start for Meyer, who's coming off a couple of very effective performances out of the pen. 2 2/3 got the win against Texas Tech on the 10th, scoreless that night. 2 2/3 against Sacramento State on Tuesday, scoreless effort that night as well, and helping to pay Stanford's efforts to get back into that game, which it did, even though they were down 15-2 at one point.
That's the first batter he's hit this year. So now 2 on, 1 out. And the hitter is Jeter Ibarra, the number 6 hitter in the lineup. Lefty at the plate. Stanford infield at double play depth. Meyer from the stretch delivers on the outside corner with a fastball, strike 1.
Ibarra with Bay Area ties from San Jose, transferred from Ohlone College. Drove in 71 last year.
Chance for some RBIs here. Here's the 0-1 from Meyer. Swing and a miss. Had him out in front. And ahead in the count now, 0-2.
Well, Stanford dug itself some holes at points last night. Huskies had bases loaded and extras, couldn't score. A couple other instances similar as well.
Meyer looks back to second, now comes to the plate and gets the strikeout swinging. Fastball on the outer part of the plate. Ibarra was late, and that's a big second out.
Yeah, Ibarra just way behind that one. Didn't even really give himself a chance. And that's the third time he has struck out today.
So now 2 away, and the number 7 hitter, Michael Snyder, comes up. Washington now 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. We mentioned both teams last night were just 1 for 12. Huskies looking to add to their 3-0 lead. Right-handed hitting Snyder swings at the first pitch, high and deep to left. Way back, Rios looks up. It is gone into the trees. Well, I guess that's the announcer's jinx. If you're a Stanford fan, I apologize. But a 3-run blast for Snyder. And it's 6-0 Washington.
It's right down the middle for Snyder. And that was the only thing he could do with it, depositing it in the trees in left center field. Snyder with his 5th home run of the season.
Up to 25 RBIs now for Snyder. And that was the big hit with runners on that Washington has been looking for. 6-0 Huskies. McKay Barney comes to the plate. Left-handed hitter takes outside for ball 1.
Close.
So one of those runs charged to Dugan, the other 2 to Meyer. Meyer from the stretch. 1-0 pitch. Line to short, off the glove of Owen Cobb, who made a leaping effort. But it bounced just off and into shallow left field. I think that'll be a base hit.
And you can close the book on Dugan. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run earned, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. And unfortunately, that blemish, the only thing that goes against him in an effective outing for Dugan out of the pen.
Here's Sam DiCarlo, runner on first, 2 out, 3 runs in, and a first pitch fastball for a strike from Meyer. DiCarlo, right-handed hitter, 0 for 3 today. Batting .280 on the year, a couple home runs, 16 runs batted in. Freshman from Long Beach. Here's the 0-1. Fastball high, 1-1. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for Washington. 0, 3, and 1 for Stanford. 2 away in the top of the 7th. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good sinking action, and it's 1-2 on DiCarlo.
No action in the Stanford bullpen right now.
1-2 from Meyer. Swung on and just tipped at the plate. It'll stay 1-2.
Well in front of that one. No action in the UW bullpen either. If Lord retires another batter today, it will be 6 1/3 innings pitched. That'll be his longest outing of the season from that standpoint.
He has been in control, limiting this powerful Stanford lineup to just 3 hits. Runner bluffs on 1-2, and it's swung on and missed, and that will end the inning. But the damage done, a 3-run home run by Michael Snyder as Washington doubles the lead. Time to stretch at Stanford, 6-0, Washington. Bottom of the 7th inning at Stanford, and so far it's been all Washington today, leading 6-0. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Huskies. No runs, just 3 hits, 1 error for the Cardinal. And Kiefer Lord has been the reason for that. The starting pitcher for Washington, right-hander coming back home to the Bay Area. 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. Facing the left-handed hitting Malcolm Moore, who lines the first pitch to second base. And it's caught by Sam DiCarlo. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Part of me wants to call that second field.
Yeah, he was basically right field, huh? Playing deep on the grass.
Barely had to move.
That's just good scouting, is what that is.
Yep.
So now here's Drew Bowser. Kiefer Lord only at 83 pitches, by the way, now through 6 1/3. Bowser, right-handed hitter, swings and misses for strike 1.
And at this point, I'd imagine if you're Jason Kelly, you don't have any real reason to think about going to your bullpen at any point soon.
Bowser 0 for 2. Breaking ball bends over the inside corner. What a pitch. 0-2.
Can he go a full 9? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Remember when pitchers used to throw complete games?
Ooh, that was close. I don't know where it missed, but a breaking ball called a ball maybe low, 1-2.
Of course, Quinn Matthews threw 9 innings last night. Also threw 9 against Oregon last week. Didn't get the win that day, but still.
From the windup, the 1-2 pitch, curveball swung on and missed. Strikeout number 7 for Kiefer Lord.
Well, that was gorgeous. Just a high curve. Just hung right up there tantalizingly that Bowser just couldn't connect with.
That's now 12 in a row retired by Kiefer Lord, who has just been in command today. And here's the right-handed hitting Alberto Rios. Another breaking ball bends in for a strike. Right now he's a strike-throwing machine.
Well, and that's what Jason Kelly liked about him. Said that he was able to throw strikes even before he was able to throw hard.
Foul ball, 0-2.
Kelly, of course, a longtime pitching coach. held that title at UW from 2013 to 2019. Also at Arizona State in 2020 and 2021. The pitching coach at LSU last year before assuming the head coaching job at UW.
Breaking ball, strike three called. 13 in a row retired by Kiefer Lord. 8 strikeouts through 7 shutout innings. We'll head to the 8th. Washington leading Stanford 6-0. Six 0 Washington leading Stanford as we head to the 8th inning. Ben Ross, and now with the play-by-play, Troy Clardy.
Thanks, Ben. A couple of field goals for the Huskies so far in this one. 3 in the 3rd, 3 in the 7th. It's accounted for all the scoring so far in this one. Top of the order for the Huskies as we begin the 8th inning with Cam Clayton looking for his first base hit of the day, facing off against Max Meyer. First pitch clapped loudly back to Meyer. Off his foot, he can't find it, and Clayton will head to first base safely. Well, and Meyer kind of hopped around a little bit as if he was in a brief moment of pain.
Yeah, let's see if he's okay. David Esker coming out to check on him along with a member of the training staff.
Gives us a chance to tell you about the defensive change for the Cardinal. Alberto Rios has moved from left field to catcher, and Court McDonald replaces Rios in left. Meyer works out the kinks. That hit him square on the right foot. Chance to get a warm-up toss or 2 in, and he is okay to stay in. So Clayton on board with his first base hit of the day, given an 8-game hit streak now. Will Simpson walked in the first, singled and scored in the 3rd with a couple of strikeouts since then. In front of that one, Simpson fouls that one off of his foot. Boy, watch your feet out there.
Yeah, we've seen a few feet in danger today. Luckily, everyone's been all right so far.
No balls and 1 strike to Simpson. Simpson in front of that one, pulls it, 0-2. Simpson had a fantastic March, had runs driven in 12 of 13 games between March 4th and March 28th. The 0-2 to Simpson. in fair territory. Throw to second for one. Throw to first. Not in time. But the lead runner erased.
Pretty good turn by the Cardinal. Just wasn't going to be a double play ball, Simpson. Pretty good speed for a guy with that type of power, hustling the whole way.
So 1 on and 1 out for number 1, A.J. Guerrero. Rounded to short, begin the 7th inning. His last plate appearance. That one's upstairs for ball 1 to Guerrero. Stanford was picked to win the Pac-12 this year. Washington picked to finish 7th. 1 ball and no strikes. Fouled off. 1 and 1. Intriguingly enough, as the Pac-12 standings looked this morning, that's exactly what the standings reflected. Stanford number 1, Washington number 7. If this result holds up, we'll see if that changes. If Arizona State is able to beat Oregon State today, then Stanford and the Sun Devils will flip-flop at the top of the Pac-12 standings. One ball, one strike. Up high, 2 and 1.
Now Washington's been good against ranked opponents this year. They're 3-3 and obviously ahead in this game. Took 2 of 3 from UCLA earlier this year.
Runner going. Pitch low. Throw to second. Not in time.
Sort of a, well, I don't know if I'd call it a delayed steal or what. Simpson started towards second, paused, kind of looked in, and then continued going. And picks up the stolen base to get himself into scoring position.
Might have displaced the base a little bit. Don't need to make sure that the equipment is reset. For a second, I was thinking, why is he taking the base out of the mooring there? Is that a did he just break a record or something?
Pulling a Ricky Henderson?
So they'll tend to that at second base. Meanwhile, elsewhere around the Pac-12, the Ducks have come back to tie things up at Evans Diamond. It's 6-all. Oregon versus Cal. That game at the top of the 6th. Ducks with runners at the corners and 1 out. So Oregon, a team that took 2 of 3 from Stanford last week, trying to get in the win column here again today. UCLA versus USC coming up later on. Of course, the Bruins will be coming this way to Sunken Diamond next week in a game that could go a ways towards pointing the direction towards the Pac-12 tournament coming up at the end of the month of May. Stanford, of course, winning that Pac-12 tournament last year. That UCLA-Oregon State game, that was just so wild and so crazy with the big comeback and extra innings and all those sorts of things. One of the more bonkers college baseball games in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
Second base has been replaced, or at least taken, or at least put back in its place correctly. Guerrero goes around, the count now full. The equipment has been reset. Got to take care of the parts that take care of you. And Max Meyer with the payoff pitch to Guerrero. Rope to left, but foul. Guerrero last year on May 1st, 3 for 5 with 3 runs scored against the Cardinals. Huskies actually took that series against Stanford last year up in Seattle. Cardinal were ranked number 6 at the time. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off again. This is actually the Huskies' first time here in this building since 2019. The series that was scheduled to be held here at Sunken Diamond in 2021 was canceled in mid-April of that year due to COVID issues within the Stanford program. Glad we've gotten past that. Payoff pitch on the way. Outside, ball 4.
Good at bat.
Yet another walk issued by Stanford pitchers. 7th of the afternoon.
And none issued by Kiefer Lord for Washington through his 7 innings. He has been impressive and doing it against one of the best lineups in all of college baseball.
Yep. 3 of those walks issued to Kobe Morales, who's at the plate right now. Going outside, ball 1. Morales 1 for 1 on the day as he singled back in the 5th. And the Huskies, a program that have been on an upward trajectory over the last couple of years. That one just misses 2-0. They made it to Omaha, the Oma Dogs, back in 2018, the only UW team to make the College World Series. Finished 9-6 in that shortened 2020 campaign, won just 20 games overall, placed last in the Pac-12 in 2021. Got up to tied for 6th last year, winning 30. On the ground to Bowser, finds it, throws to first, got him there. Everybody else moves up 90 feet.
Nice play, close play at first, but obviously a big out. The runners advance, but now at least you've got 2 outs in the inning.
So runners in scoring position for Johnny Tincher. And perhaps a different pitcher will face Tincher coming up here in a moment. And Washington went 30-26 last year. They went 0-2 in the Pac-12 tournament, losing to Oregon State and UCLA. Looking to build on that this year. They're up 6-0 right now here in the top of the 8th inning. And Stanford will turn to its 4th different pitcher this afternoon. His information coming up in just a moment right here on Pac-12 Plus. Torrin O'Haron, the new pitcher for the Cardinal. O'Haron from Rocklin, California, just outside of Sacramento. He is a freshman. O'Haron about to make his 8th appearance of the year, an 0-1 record and a 9.82 ERA. 7 in the 3rd innings pitched, 8 hits, 10 runs, 8 of them earned, 9 walks, 13 strikeouts. Opposing batters hitting .267 against O'Haron. His last appearance was against Sacramento State on Tuesday. Through 2 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, just 1 of them earned, with 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. 6-0. Huskies with the lead. Top of the 8th. UW hoping to add on to that tally. They have runners at second and third with 2 out. Johnny Tincher, the batter. Fastball blocked by Rios, the catcher, for ball 1. Meyer 1 in the third, 3 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, responsible for both runners. Simpson at third, Guerrero at second. That one on a high chop backhand by Graham. He can't get it, and it's into right field for a base hit. That scores 2 more, and the Huskies are up 8-0.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for the Cardinal. And a nice bit of hitting by Tincher. Obviously didn't hit it hard, just chopped it over to the right side, but a big hole between first and second. And he placed it perfectly, and now Washington really in control of this game.
Jeter Ibarra 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Inside. Held off his swing. 1 ball and no strikes to Ibarra. Floats one in there. Called strike 1. So 8 runs on 8 hits for the Huskies. Walks have helped their cause out a bit. A hit batter along the way. A couple wild pitches in the third inning, leading directly to Washington runs. The 2-1. High, 3-1. Able to get the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
There is now action in the Washington bullpen, so maybe now up by 8. We'll see Kiefer Lord come out of the game after his 7 sparkling innings.
High and inside, ball 4. Yeah, I saw Cole Matter go over to the UW bullpen in the last half-inning break. Matter, a terrific reliever.
Lord, 90 pitches through his 7 innings, through 65 strikes,
Yep.
just 25 balls. And he did it with a number of different pitches, mixed in his curveball, fastball. He was just keeping the Cardinal hitters off balance all day. A really impressive performance.
He's retired 13 straight to this point. Again, we'll see if he comes out for the bottom half of the 8th. 1 ball, no strikes to Michael Snyder. Last time we saw him, he was trotting the bases with a big home run, a 3-run shot that gave the Huskies a 6-0 lead in the 7th. Fastball low and away, 2-0. If you're the Huskies, part of you might be saying, well, geez, where were these runs last night? Fouled off 2-1.
Well, for the Cardinal, they definitely want to get the offense going again. It's hit a little bit of a dry spell recently. 2 more innings today, and then obviously a chance to get back at it tomorrow.
3-1 the count to Snyder. Final game of this series tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. First pitch. Outside corner called. Count full to Snyder. So Stanford enjoying a bit of home cooking before the end of the month. So they'll host Cal on Tuesday and then host UCLA here next week. Just one home series in the entire month of May when Arizona comes here in mid-May. Off the fist, straight into the air. Who's got it? Graham. And the side is retired. Huskies get two more across, however. A two-run single by Johnny Tincher gives UW an 8-0 lead with the bottom of the eighth in just a moment. Bottom of the eighth. Huskies up by 8. 8 batter in the Stanford lineup. Striding up to the plate, Jimmy Nadai, the freshman designated hitter. Nadai struck out in the second, grounded out in the fifth. Kiefer Lord still on the mound for the Huskies. He retired 13 straight. Stanford's last base runner was Tommy Troy, who got an infield single back in the third. Nothing doing for Stanford since then, as Nadai looks at the first pitch down low for ball 1.
Well, let's see how he looks here in this 8th inning. A long layoff between pitches for him because of the long top of the 8th inning the Huskies enjoyed.
Fly ball, but well foul. Kiefer Lord, San Carlos, California, where he began. Went to Menlo School. But as we talked about earlier in the show, began his collegiate career at Carleton College, Northfield, Minnesota. When I was getting brochures and stuff way back in the Stone Ages, way back in my day, Carleton College was the first college to send me something.
Oh, yeah.
Very first one. I did not go there. I ended up going to some school named Stanford, so I think it worked out well.
It worked out okay.
Carleton College.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Where are they on the map? Minnesota. Ooh, I don't know.
A little chilly.
A little chilly.
A little colder than California.
Curve just misses upstairs, ball 2.
Boy, that curveball still has a lot of break in the 8th inning. That was close. Just stayed a little high.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Fires the fastball, foul tip into the glove, strike 3.
Well, so much for that layoff bothering Kiefer Lord, who now is up to 9 strikeouts. Just 3 singles allowed. No walks.
And not really being able to keep a complete and total eye on what's happening around the rest of the Pac-12. And, of course, we still have Sunday left to play, but Lord pitching like a potential Pac-12 Pitcher of the Week winner by the time it's all said and done when those awards are announced on Monday.
Tell you, I don't have a vote, but if I did, he'd have my vote.
Yeah.
It would be his second one of the year. As we mentioned earlier in March, he was also a National Pitcher of the Week, which perhaps he'll get some looks for that too, especially if he can get one more strikeout into double digits. I feel like it shouldn't make that big of a difference, but I feel like 10 strikeouts stands out more
Nice
than
round
9.
number, yeah. Off the fist, foul could be playable as Simpson gives chase, finds it, and makes the catch.
Ooh.
That's a sunken diamond out, folks. Two
Yeah,
gone.
and not an easy play, especially for a guy who's not familiar with playing here that often. A lot of foul territory, obviously. Simpson stuck with it, got over there and made a nice catch.
Pinch hitter coming up for the Cardinals, Henry Gargis. Gargis, a senior from Yakima, Washington, came on as a pinch runner in yesterday's game. Gargis batting 111 with 1 home run and 3 RBIs. Swings and misses at the first pitch from Lord, strike 1. Gargis, a 3-run homer at Pacific on March the 1st. I feel like everyone had a 3-run homer for Stanford in that game. Fouled off, 0-2. Gargis hit a 2-run home run at Washington State back in 2021, so I'm sure that'll make the Husky fans happy. Huskies and Cougars don't get along very well.
Yeah, probably in real life and collegiately.
True. The 0-2 curve way up high for ball 1. Of course, the Apple Cup, hotly contested every single year. A 1-2. And that one just fell off the table, but too low, 2-2. Yakima's closer to Washington State University than it. Well, then again, it's kind of in the middle of the state, maybe. So maybe it's somewhat equidistant to UW and Washington State. Who knows? 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled off. Now, it's certainly closer to Washington State, perhaps in spirit, right? In the feel of the place.
Sure.
Things like that.
Let's look it up.
The internet always tells us everything we need to know.
Let's map it out.
The 2-2. Fastball got him looking. Kiefer Lord is retired 16 straight. He's the Lord of the mound today, folks. 8-0 UW. Top of the 9th in just a moment. A couple of changes as we begin the 9th inning, and Washington ahead 8-0. Defensively for Stanford, Court McDonald moves from left field to center, and Henry Gargis stays in and plays left field. And Ava Arquette, who made his collegiate debut in last night's game, pinch hitting in the 8th spot for McKay Barney. Here as we begin the 9th inning. Pitch from Torrin O'Haron. It's outside for ball 1. Iva Arquette,
Only because he has.
a freshman from Kailua, Hawaii. Righty stands in 6'4", 205. So this one outside 2-0. So Iva Arquette from the Aloha State. Majority of the roster from the Evergreen State. And even look a little closer, a lot of the kids from the Seattle metro area. As the count now goes to 3-0. 39 guys on the roster, 19 from Washington State, 16 from the Seattle metro. The 3-0. Outside corner, 3-1. You hear coaches talk about, from a recruiting standpoint, putting a chain link fence around their territory, put a chain link fence around their state. None of the big recruits get out of there. Back up the middle, base hit. First one of Iva Arquette's career.
And good at bat. Got ahead in the count. Didn't try and do too much. Just sent it right back where it was pitched from, up the middle. Save that baseball.
A call to the bullpen is forthcoming. And the fifth different Stanford pitcher today will take the mound. 8-0, Washington with the lead over 9th-ranked Stanford. The new pitcher in just a moment here on Pac-12+. Eight nothing. Huskies lead the Cardinal, top of the 9th inning with a runner on and nobody out. And Stanford turning to Nicholas Lopez on the mound, the graduate student from Redwood City, California. Lopez about to make his 12th appearance of the year, 2-1 record, an ERA of 5.56, 11 in the third innings pitched, 11 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned, 16 strikeouts, 8 walks. Opposing batters hitting .250 against Lopez. Through an inning in the third, scoreless against Texas Tech on April the 10th. Hadn't had too many opportunities over the last couple of years coming into this one. Redshirted in 2021, appeared in just 5 games last year, but has become a more integral part of the Cardinal bullpen this year. Pinch running for Iva Arquette, by the way, at first is Cole Miller. So Miller on the base paths. And Sam DiCarlo, the 9th batter in the Washington order, coming under the plate, looking for his first base hit of the day. Reached on an error in the 4th. Pitched well outside from Lopez for ball 1. In his last outing against Texas Tech on April the 11th, that one's hit lined right to Cobb. Throw to first, not in time, so they get 1.
Well, we talked at the top of the broadcast about the game last night and going 16 innings, how the teams would respond, especially Washington. When you lose a 16-inning game, obviously that stings. They've come out today, led by Kiefer Lord, of course, and set the tone early, and this is a great response.
Back to the top of the Husky order we go. Cam Clayton with an infield single in the 8th inning. In Lopez's last outing overall, it was against Texas Tech in the second game of that series, as that will get down for a base hit. Miller speeding around second, being given the green light to come around third. He is. The throw coming, cut off. Miller scores, and the Huskies are up by 9.
Well, the Bats have certainly gotten going today for Washington after just the one run last night in 16. This is a sneaky good lineup. You know, you look at obviously Will Simpson at the top with those 13 home runs, but all the way through, they've got guys who give you tough at bats. We've seen that today.
So the RBI double by Clayton. Simpson looks at the first pitch low and inside for ball 1. What I keep trying to say, but the action keeps interrupting me. Lopez's last outing before this didn't retire a batter against Texas Tech on April the 11th. Charged with a walk, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. So a Dickensian turn for Lopez during that 2-step against Texas Tech. Best of times in game 1, not so much in game 2. Floats outside, misses 2-1.
I think Will Simpson is probably thinking big fly here. Normally you don't like to do that, but up 9-0, facing a lefty.
And this one is given a good ride to right. Montgomery, short of the track, makes the catch. Tagging up and heading over to third. Clayton safe.
The rare instance again where you challenge the arm of Braden Montgomery. That one was hit deep enough where safe for Clayton with his speed to make it to third. It's fun, though, to watch Montgomery throw the ball. Even on something like that, just the velocity that it comes out with. Got to be high 90s out of his hands. Well, we've seen him on the mound.
The last guy I can think of in right field that Stanford had like that is Joe Borchert.
Yeah.
High and outside to A.J. Guerrero for ball 1. Guerrero singled and scored in the 3rd, walked and scored in the 8th. 1 ball, no strikes. Bounces, blocked by Rios, 2-0. Borchard, some guy named John Elway patrolled right field in Stanford back in the day. That's probably the list right there.
Yeah.
I think Montgomery has made his way into that upper echelon of arms in the right field for Stanford over the years.
I think he's just that type of a talent. I mean, we've seen what he can do at the plate, too. The power, the opposite field power. Just an incredible all-around baseball player and athlete.
I'm still trying to put it together on the mound.
But you know that the pieces are there. The talent is there.
Right back to Lopez, and the side is retired. Huskies add another, an RBI double by Cam Clayton, and the Cardinal have work to do. They'll start with Graham, Troy, and Montgomery due up for Stanford, bottom of the 9th, and the Huskies ahead 9-0. Comes down to this for the Cardinal. They're down 9-0 as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Cole Miller stays in as he came on to pinch run, but he replaces McKay Barney in center. Colin Blanchard replacing Johnny Tincher behind the plate. And a new pitcher for the Washington Huskies is Sam Boyle, a freshman from Vancouver, Washington. As Boyle about to make his 16th appearance of the year and his 15th in relief. A record of 3-0 and an ERA of 4.30. Does have one save to his credit. 23 innings pitched, 27 hits, 12 runs, 11 of them earned, 32 strikeouts versus 9 walks. With opposing batters hitting .293 against Boyle, who has hit 5 batters in 23 innings of work. The 2, 3, 4 batters due up for the Cardinal in this half inning. It begins with Carter Graham, who has one of Stanford's 3 base hits. That came back in the 3rd. Of course, Boyle coming on to replace Kiefer Lord. His day is done. His numbers coming up in a moment, and they're quite impressive. You'll want to hear them. Pitch outside for ball 1 to Carter Graham. Kiefer Lord's day, 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts, 74 strikes and 104 pitches. Foul back, 1-1.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
And he retired the last 16 batters he faced.
And he did it against a lineup that produces better than 8 runs a game on average this year and hits 300.
Completely shackled him. For the first time since the 3rd inning, Stanford has a runner on base. Carter Graham, his 2nd hit of the day.
I think at this point the Cardinal happy to see anybody besides Kiefer Lord on the mound. Just a different look when you got a guy completely in the zone like Lord was today.
Well, speaking of in the zone, Tommy Troy. Carter Graham with 2 of Stanford's 4 base hits today. Troy with the other 2. This will probably not be one of them. It's the fly ball to left, grabbed by Guerrero, 1 away. Sam Boyle appeared in last night's game, threw an inning in 2/3, scoreless affair, gave up just 2 hits. Braden Montgomery struck out twice, grounded out in the 6th. Facing off against the lefty Sam Boyle. Popped up. Shallow right. Morales calls for it. Cardinal down to their final out. So Court McDonald picking up a bat for his first time today. McDonald came in as a defensive replacement in left field, then switched over to center as the game went along. Runner going, no throw. It's ball 1 to McDonald.
Cardinal trying to at least avoid the shutout. Been shut out twice this year.
Fouled off down the line, 1-1. McDonald 1 for 3 at the plate so far this year. Does have an RBI to his credit. Graham, the runner at second, and the Cardinal down to their final strike. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. At your ball game. The Washington Huskies rebound from last night's loss, and Kiefer Lord leads them to victory. Masterful pitching by Lord and the Huskies, and Washington able to break out the bats along the way. The final score here today, Washington 9, Stanford 0. Stanford now 24-12 on the season, 12-5 in Pac-12 play. Washington now 21-12 on the season, 8-8 in conference action. And Stanford, let's see what happens down in Phoenix. They might be in first place if Arizona State loses tonight to Oregon State, or they might fall to second if the Sun Devils get the win.
Well, Jason Kelly, head coach for Washington, had to enjoy that pitching performance. Longtime pitching coach for the Huskies, a couple other schools as well. And Kiefer Lord just put on a show today. And he did it in front of friends and family in his hometown, or not his very hometown, but near his hometown of San Carlos. Went to Menlo School, and he came back here and shut down a potent lineup. 3 singles was all he gave up with 10 strikeouts in 8 innings.
And retired the final 16 batters that he faced. Lord, 8 shutout innings, 3 hits, no walks, and 10 strikeouts along the way. The big heroes for Washington from a batting standpoint, the biggest blow, Michael Snyder. His 3-run home run in the 7th inning gave the Huskies a 6-0 lead at that point. Huskies did get the first 3 runs of the game in the top of the 3rd inning on an RBI fielder's choice and a couple of wild pitches. So Matt Scott, who got the start for the Stanford Cardinal today on the mound, struggled for the most part, threw a couple of wild pitches, walked 4 guys as well, lasted just 2 1/3. Nick Dugan, a valiant effort in relief, really stabilized things a little bit, throwing 4 terrific innings, but the Huskies just could not be contained down the stretch after Snyder's big 3-run home run off of Max Meyer in the 7th inning. They tacked on a few more throughout the end of it all, and by the time the smoke cleared, it's a 9-0 win for the Huskies. Key for the win, he goes up to 4-3 on the season. Matt Scott, the loss, he started off 5-0. Now he is 5-2 on the season. Time of the game, 2 hours and 48 minutes. Just over 1,600 here in the friendly confines of Sunken Diamond. So a little bit of it all we've seen so far from Stanford and Washington in this series. Of course, it's easy to see it all in a 16-inning affair like it was last night, but we've seen what it looks like when Stanford is at its most opportunistic. We've also seen what it looks like when the Stanford pitching staff struggles a little bit. We've also seen what it looks like when the Stanford bullpen is on point. So a bit of it all, and overall, Stanford still seems to be a team that's still trying to find itself for the most part in many phases of the game.
I think the big thing tomorrow is, can Stanford get the bats going again and break out offensively a little bit? Obviously, just 3 runs so far in this series. When you combine last night's 16 innings with tonight's 9, that's 25. And so a chance maybe for the Cardinal to go for the series win tomorrow and do it with the bats. For Washington, chance to get their first series win at Stanford since 2015. The Huskies took 2 of 3 last year up in Seattle, and they're trying to repeat that tomorrow. So as we said, Washington has battled with some of the best teams both in the conference and country. They're now 4-3 against ranked opponents this year. Mentioned they took 2 of 3 from UCLA this year. So I'm impressed by these Huskies. They can compete, obviously, with the top of the conference. I'm excited to see tomorrow's finale.
Your probables for Sunday: Joey Dixon for the Cardinal, Jared Ingman for the Washington Huskies. First pitch scheduled for 1:05 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be right back here for all the coverage. We'll fire things up at 1 o'clock right here on pack-12.com and GoStanford.com. On behalf of our fantastic, and for today and this weekend, extremely busy broadcast crew, and my partner Ben Ross, I'm Troy Clarity. Thank you so much for joining us here today. The final score once again, Washington 9, Stanford 0. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and go Card.